उससे connect करने के लिए we don't need anything. There is a direct connection that can happen from here to there. And if you have this in your hands, which becomes part of that exercise, तो दर्शन लाजमी है. दर्शन जो है, जो मैं भी सोचता था कि कब दर्शन होंगे, जब कई दफे मुझे लोग पूछते कि कैरी योर कैमरा एवरीवेयर, आई सेड अरे क्या भरोसा है, भगवान कब दर्शन दे दे, कब ग्रेट मोमेंट दर्शन दे दे. अब मैंने ये कहना सेपरेट अलग छोड़ दिया है. ये दर्शन कंटिन्यूअस है. The connectivity with child sense of wonder. And but what is happening in photography, which is very dangerous also, as I said earlier, that photography with the camera in your hand gives you the strength to live for the moment, and you go by from moment to moment. You are living because your heart, your feelings are directly connected with every inch of space. So your mind is not functioning anywhere. Now the flip side of it is that this computer that God has been installing in all of us, which is biggest memory, and you can extend it to anything, the information, the sights and the sounds and the images it stores. 80–90% of the time people photograph from here, not from here. Their eye is connected to their computer here, not to their heart. And if it's not connected to your heart, so the influences and the second-rate quality of similar situations makes it look, अरे यार था तो अच्छा लेकिन आया नहीं, कहाँ से आएगा? दिल तो तुम्हारा कहीं और है, दिमाग से तुम सारा प्लान कर रहे हो. See, even philosophies happens later on. First, it's a moment of realization and experience. You have a direct experience of a situation, and you say, "Oh my God!" And then you say, "Acha, yeah, this is what it was." Then you say, "कि ये बात बनी, ये philosophy थी." अगर आप philosophy समझ के उस पे काम करें, तो you are nowhere. Today, conceptual art. Let me tell you, once in a while that conceptual artist produces some interesting photograph, because accidents do take place in any form of styles. But let me tell you, this little fellow here, no matter what the biggest computer God has been installing, they say we've learned to use less than 1% of that. So this guy is good for nothing when it comes to creativity. Yes, Devi.
You made a wonderful book on trees, and I think what you're saying comes through in that book, the whole connect that you have with nature, the feeling of the heart. Can you talk a little more about your connect with nature, because you love nature?
Yeah, you see now, the book that I did on trees was not a planned, programmed subject that I was working on. And actually most of my projects which I'll be doing in future are happening now, are not planned. Now you see, when you have an agenda, when you have certain responsibility that you have to photograph this, and you have to complete your book on this, or you have to photograph so and so politician or this NGO or that situation, your mind gets programmed. And creativity happens beyond programming. Now, when I was photographing trees, I was not going each day to photograph the trees. If I was going for a Congress session in Chikmagalur or wherever, in South there was, and on the way, we were traveling by car for 5 hours this way, 5 hours that way, and on the way, the landscape, the trees, the amazing experience, and when you make yourself available mentally, physically, and spiritually, then they imagine, they say, "Hey, where do you go? Come, here I am." And that's a true moment of creativity and richness. You see, these photo shoots, you guys also organize?
Okay.
Photo shoots?
What photo shoots do you mean? Oh, photo walks?
Photo walks and shoots. Terrible things.
It's a good thing I didn't say yes.
Because, communists जो हैं, the way they are regimented, they would have produced many great artists by now. Yeah. This is a lonesome journey which happens in silence. And if you get together and go with the cameras to celebrate and to take pictures, sure you can have lots of fun. पर दर्शन नहीं होने वाले हैं। बस ये देख लीजिए आप। So that book was born out of those nudges and those joyful experiences when we had direct connection without wanting to do anything, wanting to do it.
That's why you, just on the connection bit, and you know how important is it for you to connect to anybody that you're photographing? You know, some of the most iconic portraits that you've taken, like of Mother Teresa and so on. So can you tell us a little bit about how that process works and how important is it for you to get connected to the individual to photograph?
नहीं देखिए इसको तो छोड़िए डेली लाइफ में आपके बिल जो है बिजली का बिल एक्सेजरेटेड आता है और वहाँ पे करप्ट ऑफिसर बैठा है तो आप अपना बिल लेके जाते हैं और आप डर के कह रहे हैं सर मैं ये करने आया हूँ और from the other side if you go to that officer or whoever is the guy and you say listen look into his eyes and talk to him with the confidence and directness, the connection is made. But if you haven't made the connection and you are going choo choo choo, he says, हाँ बैठिए बैठिए मैं आपको अभी समझाता हूँ. Connection has to be made direct. It has to be a direct connection with anything and everything. Otherwise, nobody in this world. The world is so wicked somewhere. Those who reach there, they want to sit there and look down. And they don't even want to milao nazars with you, so that you don't think that they recognize you or they want you around. ये जीने का process है, which has to be reversed. हमारा education system जो बीमार. But today's children are amazing. The way they look at you, direct, and talk to you, and ask you questions are amazing.
So, what do you think about the selfie generation? They call everybody these days to find smartphones. Do you think, Mr. Rai, that there are more and more people these days who don't enjoy the moment and they just remove their camera and they just like want to take pictures and they just keep on looking at themselves all the time?
क्यों नहीं? Self-love is very important. It definitely begins from the self. Somebody, if they love themselves so much, but also, this is a silly little exercise which costs you nothing. You can take 100 selfies in a day and you can please 100 people and come back with distorted features and faces and togetherness. You see, the other day, there was one channel did a program on selfies, and there was BJP guy also, there was a Congress guy also. So they started attacking each other, that Modi keeps doing this and Rahul couldn't do that and that kind of rubbish. I said whatever Modi did or Rahul did or even Obama did, they all had pakoda noses because the noses were so distorted, and because the fact that a big leader is doing is a big deal, is rubbish. I mean, you see it once and you say, yes, very interesting. Second time, no man. This is also the first rule of creativity. That you see, or conceptual art, or the kind of photography people do. They find an idea and they go on repeating it in different forms, in different physical situations, and they say, what an idea. Man, the first principle of creativity is that there has to be no repetition of any kind. When it repeats, it becomes familiar, and this familiarity breeds content.
But do you think this is also because of the age of communication now? Like for instance, earlier you were saying that there aren't people like this, there aren't writers like those, like how they used to be earlier. Similarly, now it's such an interconnected world, whether it's digitally, whether it's by print, whether it's online, whatever. And earlier there only used to be one or two newspapers, there used to be only one or two news channels, and everybody would wait the next day to see what the big news was. But now everything breaks online on Twitter, on Instagram, face both. So do you think it's all because everybody's too exposed, that's the reason why such situations arise?
देखिए, एक पहली बात है कि everybody is breaking news, you know, and breaking the hell out of every news and every bit of the sensitivity that it should have. Those sensitive details, they don't exist anymore. Bulk of the camera works by all channels is so bad and so quick and so distorted that they should feel ashamed of it. Nobody bothers. The idea is fast food generation to sell, to somehow collect and throw it at the audience. And people like Arnav Goswami, what obnoxious guys they've become. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm bringing in some of these things because they are hurting the spirit of some of the masses in this country. And if he thinks he's a big hero, I don't know. And this is a cruel act. And you see one channel, you know, making announcement and a sword coming and slashing the headline. The other guys are putting their headlines on fire. All drama because they've got nothing substantial and meaningful to explore and share with the public. It's all rubbish. You guys are buying it, they are selling it. Look at Hindi cinema. 90% of it is fantastic nonsense and we all.
Sir, who is the hero now for you? You have observed such hero?
What kind of heroes?
Anyway, like you mentioned, Arnav.
Bollywood person.
Another superhero who's the king of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan. I tell you, the face is pretentious actor. Most pretentious, and he makes faces. And he thinks, क्या बात है मेरी acting. And he's so full of himself कि character तो उसमें आता ही नहीं है. सिर्फ शाहरुख आता है. पहले अमिताभ ऐसा होता था. हर फिल्म में अमिताभ ही दिखाई देता था. कोई भी character हो. In last 10 years, he somehow understood feelings.
So,